In this video, I'm going to show you how you can build conversation ads on LinkedIn ads platform. Conversation ads are a type of message ad where when you send it out, it's kind of choose your own adventure. So people are able to choose the option they want to engage with, which might be book a call and sends them directly to somewhere where they can book a call. You could have something like tell me more, we can tell them more information, or whatever you want, right? So you can put in multiple options. People can choose the option they'd rather engage with, and then you can do some type of action following that. Now, you can get pretty extensive in the type of tree that you can build here. So what I mean is not only is there the initial option for them to choose, but then a follow-up message will pop up. And when that follow-up message pops up, you can actually put additional options for them and so on and so forth. So it can get pretty complicated. This is going to be a pretty straightforward video just to show you how you can do it. And then feel free to get as creative as you want whenever you set up your conversation ads. So to begin with, I'm going to start on the regular page when you go to create a campaign in Campaign Manager. I've put my naming convention in here, which is always the funnel stage, the type of objective I'm using, the type of ad type I'm using, any special identifiers I'd like to include in it, and also the launch date. Now, I'm going to choose website visits as my objective. There's going to be a spot later where if you change this, it's going to change your objective on the actual campaign. So that's really important to stay aware of. But just to let you know, I'm going to choose website visits because I want people that have shown that they'll take an action in the past to click on a link. Not necessarily convert, because while I do want that, I'm not sure that I want to rely on the data that LinkedIn has to optimize for conversions. I'd rather just target the people that I have in my list or in my audience and make sure that I'm sending this message to as many of them as possible. So you're going to build the audience like you normally would. This video isn't about audience building. There are other videos where I discuss that, so feel free to check those out. But this audience, again, is already pre-built. We're using a list. I added some job title filters on top of that to hone in on that list. I set up my budget, my start date, the type of bidding that I want. I am going to put in a manual bid. And while it shows the recommended bidding, 25 cents to 28 cents, the reason that I put in $10 is because it's people only receive a message when they log into LinkedIn. That's the only way to get a send. And then there's other people competing to send messages as well. So whatever your bid is, whatever your high bid, it will increase the bid cost by 1 cent. So somebody else has a bid in there of 28 cents and I have $10. Well, I'm going to spend 29 cents. Somebody else has 50 cents. Then theirs is going to go up to 30 cents, mine 31, back and forth until the person outbids the other. So in this case, if somebody bid 50 cents, it would be 51 cents. So I like to start with a high bid because I want to win that send. Because it's limited on how many messages they can get, I want to make sure that I'm getting my message in front of the people I want to see it. So now let's build the actual ad itself. So I'm going to come over here to create new ad. I'm going to name it. So I'm going to be pretty simple in my naming conventions here. I'm going to choose the sender. If the sender is not on here, you can come over here to add sender. You could type in their name and send them a request. When you send that request, it'll look like this. You could actually copy this request link, send it directly to them, and as long as they click on it, that'll approve them as a sender for that message. Now, keep in mind that you can't actually respond to these messages. They are another ad type. So when it gets sent, there's only the options for someone to select. Whatever they select, it will not start a conversation window with you. So you will not be allowed to just pick up a conversation, not even based on their answers. This is only options for them to engage with, which will have some sort of action behind it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put in a subject line here. You do have the option to put in a banner creative. I'm not going to put one in for this, but you do have the option. You also have the option to put a custom footer with terms and conditions, which again, I'm not going to be putting. So here, if you decide to choose something else from the objective that you initially entered when you started building this campaign, it will change that objective. For example, if I put drive trials and demos, it's going to change my objective to conversion. There are times and places to use that objective. I don't typically use it. It's not a best practice. I give that explanation full in other videos, so please feel free to check them out. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and stick with drive website visits. All right, so now we really get to the bread and butter of setting up a message campaign. First and foremost, you want to put your main message in here. So I'm going to copy that, put this in. So you'll notice I had this little name placeholder here. That name placeholder was something that we input. You do have to come over here to insert custom fields, and you're going to use LinkedIn's native smart field recognition. So I'm going to click first name, and this is the way that it picks up that smart field. If you don't change it like that, when your messages go out, it's going to say hi, first name, in whatever bracket you have. So now I'm going to put the appropriate spacing that I have in my copy. Okay, there we go. It does give you the suggestion here. Please replace all caps bracketed words with suggested information to complete your template selection. Remember to keep your message short and concise, under 500 characters. So this one is a little bit longer of a message. It's just something that we're trying, but of course, short and concise does well. I always like to test. Okay, now we get to the decision tree. So let me move my face over here. And if you'll notice here, this is the decision tree. So when you click on something, an action is going to happen. So for this, let me grab the appropriate links. Our first button that people can click through is going to be request demo. The action is going to be to send them to a website. So this is the link that we'll be sending them to. Now, it doesn't stop there. Anytime you do this action, anytime you send someone to a link, it's still going to send a follow-up message. So you need to make sure you come here to edit response, and you'll notice there's a follow-up message that goes in here. Not only that, you can actually continue to include additional call to action buttons. So you'll notice if somebody hits request demo, this message pops up, and then there's more options to it. So I'm not, in this example, we're not going to set those up. There's no additional messages or paths that I want the prospects to take. So I'm simply going to delete them. And here's the follow-up message I'll be using. Okay, and so this one's done. So I'm going to go ahead and hit back to previous message. So this first one's done. Now I'm going to go to the next one, which as you can see is the next option in line. And then this one's going to be titled this. So you'll see the two options here. In the previous one, I put send to a message. In the previous one, I put send to a website. And there's also an option here that says show next message. So instead of actually just sending someone, and I'll show you how this works once we complete it, but instead of sending someone to a link or a website, you can simply put show next message. So in this situation, I am going to send them to an additional URL. Pop that in there. I'm going to come over here to edit response. And then put in the follow-up message. And then again, I don't have any actions that they need to take after this. Simply going to remove these. And then this one's done. Okay, now there's going to be one more option here. This one's going to be titled Also sending them to a website. We'll pop in the URL, go to edit response. There it is. Put in this response, and I'm going to delete these because I have no additional actions for anyone to take. And this one's done. Okay, so now I have the messages I want in here. It'll automatically have a not interested button as well. So that's going to be included. Okay, so I'm going to go hit create on this ad. And now one thing I highly suggest that you do is send a test message. You might find that you set up something incorrectly. You might see that you don't like the way that it looks formatted. So you always want to send yourself a test message. So come over here, hit send test message, and then it'll go to your LinkedIn profile. So let me log in. I'm going to open it up, and you can see the message here. So you can see the first name populated the way it's supposed to with the smart field. Everything's formatted correctly. Now, if I hit request a demo, it takes me directly to the site that I put in there. Except keep in mind, there's always a follow-up message. So that's what's really important, because if you don't change that, it defaults one that has brackets and assumed smart fields in there, and it doesn't come out right. So you always want to make sure to do your follow-up message. So let me check the other links, make sure everything's working. That's working. Let's see, this one's working. Perfect. Okay, all my links are working. As you can see, there's a follow-up message. They all came out appropriately. So we look good. So now this is done. You can definitely load more conversation ads. I typically recommend running 5 conversation ads for variety to see what works and doesn't work. I'd also recommend using different tones, different styles of your copy. Use short form, use medium form, maybe a long form like this one, and see what performs best for you. But that's how you create a conversation ad. From here, all you'd have to do is launch it. And one more thing is you do have to make sure to take it out of draft. So take it out of draft, hit active, then you'll hit next and launch. So that's how you create conversation ads on LinkedIn. Thank you.